Hey guys, Tony here, back at it again. The symbolic death tribute from Mike Tomlin decoded. In case you guys didn't know, Dennis Green passed away. The Minnesota Vikings head coach, most famous for giving the Vikings their best opportunity to win the Super Bowl. But it was in 1998 that the Minnesota Vikings went 15-1, but failed to win the conference title game. Number one, you saw that they lost to the Atlanta Falcons by a score of 30-27 in overtime. The Vikings ended up scoring 27 points in that game. This year, we can see the 27th NFC team winning the Super Bowl. And it is going to be Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints that are able to be the 27th NFC team to go win the Super Bowl. 27 points definitely ties into this year for the Minnesota Vikings. They end up finishing the year with 16 wins and 2 losses. It's interesting that this occurred during the 98 season. This year is the 98th season in the NFL, and this is when the Super Bowl is going to be played. Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's interesting that the playoff starts on the 6th day of the month, the 6th day of the year, and this may be a sign that the Steelers remain at 6 Super Bowl titles. Remember, in gematria, the practice of coding letters and words into numbers. Number one, I find it interesting that the phrase Saints win Super Bowl 52 equals 62, and notice that the Steelers have a 6-2 record in the Super Bowl. The storyline for Pittsburgh is Stairway to 7. The stairway to the 7th Super Bowl title, but there's going to be a little bumpy ride along the way. Stairway to 7 in gematria equals 63. The Pittsburgh Steelers can have a 6-3 record in the Super Bowl after they lose to the New Orleans Saints. Also, it is Pope in gematria that equals 52 and 25. The AFC can remain at 25 Super Bowl victories after they lose the Super Bowl. Remember, the last time that an NFC team won the Super Bowl came during Super Bowl 48, and this is the 48th modern-day Super Bowl after the NFL merger that occurred back after Super Bowl III, when Joe Namath and the Jets had that scripted victory over the Baltimore Colts. Pope also equals 52, the year of Super Bowl 52. What is the team with the Jesuit logo? It is the New Orleans Saints. They are named after famous people in Catholicism. A saint is a person who is recognized as having an exceptional degree of holiness or likeness or closeness to God. This is what a saint is. It is no coincidence that the Super Bowl, Vatican City, 127 to 31st prime. This is why I predicted the Steelers to play in the Super Bowl at the start of the year correctly, because this whole AFC title game is a Dan Rooney tribute. It's interesting that Steelers in reverse ordinal equals 113. Just looking at Dennis Green's win total, I see that he has 113 this year. The World Series was played on November the 3rd. That was Game 7 of the World Series. And remember, the Dodgers remained at 6 World Series titles. The same thing is going to happen with the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. Notice, too, that going back to that 62 reference earlier in the video, Dennis Green, 62 losses, 97 victories. The season that began on September the 7th, 9-7. And let me type it in the calculator here. Minneapolis as well equals 62. You cannot forget about that right there. But the reason why Mike Tomlin is a symbolic death figure to Dennis Green. Remember, Dennis Green died before the Vikings' new stadium opened. It is very significant. Number one, Mike Tomlin used to coach with the Minnesota Vikings. He coached with the Minnesota Vikings before becoming the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach in the year 2006. 20 plus 6, 26 Steelers can play for a 26 AFC title. Pittsburgh Steelers coach since 2007. 20 plus 7 equals 27. The Saints can become the 27th NFC team to win the Super Bowl. No doubt his connections with the Minnesota Vikings hold significant meaning. He's 45 years old this year. The last time the Steelers made the Super Bowl was in Super Bowl 45. They lost that Super Bowl. New Orleans equals 45. New England equals 45 in gematria. Both the first two teams to win while Donald Trump is U.S. President. Trump the Jesuit from Fordham University. Other significant tributes that, like some people were saying, the solar eclipse happened, 167 days before the Super Bowl. The amount of time from the Super Bowl to the death of Dennis Green on July 21st is a time span of 167 days. 167 is the 39th prime. And it is Drew Brees that's going to be 39 years old. Peyton Manning won Super Bowl 50 at 39 years old. Tom Brady won the Super Bowl at 39 years old. 333. The power of 3 and 33. The Masonic rigging by the number 33. And check this out too. 103 is the 27th prime number. The Saints can become the 27th NFC team to win the Super Bowl after defeating the Pittsburgh Steelers, which they will. Guess what equals 103 in gematria? Steelers in gematria equals 103, and 50 in reverse full reduction. The New Orleans Saints had 50 prior seasons to this year. Dennis Green, a.k.a. Mike Tomlin, both coaches are African American. Dennis Green is African American, most known for coaching the Minnesota Vikings. Things didn't work out for him during his time over there. Mike Tomlin has 66 career losses as an NFL head coach. He can have a 10-7 record in the postseason. To me, remember that Pope equals 52. The Saints with the Jesuit logo. 35th day of the year is when the Super Bowl is played. Catholic, 35. And it's interesting that Pope Jorge Bergoglio, the real name of the Pope, equals 107. To me, that's no coincidence as well. 107 also means championship drought. 107 is a special championship number. But 66 career losses. Mike Tomlin will lose his 67th career game as the Steelers head coach in the Super Bowl. The former Vikings coach, who was the defensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings, will end up being the symbolic Dennis Green figure. A chance to win his 127th game in the Super Bowl, the 31st prime. It was Dennis Green that died at 67 years of age. And to me, this is where the Dennis Green tribute is going to come into play. He died at 67 years of age. Mike Tomlin, also African American, can lose his 67th career game as the Minnesota Vikings head coach. In 2006, When he loses his 67th game as the Steelers head coach. But back in 2006, the Vikings went 9-7 that year. No doubt a parallel to the season that began this year on September the 7th. Big Ben losing Super Bowls, 45 and 52. 7 years apart from each other equals 97. Big Ben can't pass Peyton Manning. Golden Boy Peyton has got to stay tied with Eli Manning and with Ben Roethlisberger. They just wouldn't let Ben Roethlisberger pass Peyton Manning. They wouldn't do that to their glorious Golden Boy. 2-2 after losing to New Orleans. I wonder if Green Bay equals 45. Green Bay doesn't equal 45, but Drew Brees wins Super Bowl 52. Pretty fitting. That equals 127. And 127 is the 31st prime. And Steelers equals 31. Minneapolis equals 127. Super Bowl 52. LII. Louisiana 2. No doubt that's going to be revisited. Mike Tomlin, 67. Loss as the Steelers head coach. Dennis Green dying at 67 years of age. Here lies the tribute for the Super Bowl. He used to coach the Vikings a lot like Dennis Green. No doubt by the numbers. It can happen.